Welcome to the Township Committee meeting of February 8th. Adequate notice of the February 8th meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Publics Meeting Act and by posting written notice and agenda of the meeting on the bulletin board in the Municipal Building, 1000 Route 10, Township of Hanover, and by hand delivering, mailing, or faxing such notice and agenda to the following newspapers: the Daily Record, the Star Ledger, the Hanover Eagle, and by filing the same with the Township Municipal Clerk.
Okay, on roll call, Committeeman Gallagher.
Here.
Committeeman Mahalko.
Here.
Committeeman Cahill.
Here.
And Deputy Mayor Faramasca, and Mayor Francioli is on a brief vacation.
Here. Okay, at this time, Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a second, member of the Township Committee.
Almighty God, we ask you bless this governing body with the abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions will promote the common good of the general welfare of all the people of Hanover Township. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Okay, at this point, may I have a motion to open the meeting to the public?
Motion to move. Second.
Okay, at this point, if there's any member of the public that would like to address the Township Committee, please proceed to the podium and give your name and your address. Seeing none, I'd like a motion to close this portion of the meeting.
Second.
Okay, all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we'll continue with the agenda. We have the approval of the Township Committee regular minutes of January 25th, 2018. May we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
We have a motion by Mr. Gallagher.
Second.
Second by Mr. Cahill. All in favor?
Aye.
So approved. As we continue, we have the following reports that have been submitted by our various departments and bureaus. The first is a report of our property maintenance officer for all activities conducted during the month of January through February 7th. We have the report from the superintendent of the Public Works Department on all projects and activities conducted by Public Works during January. The township engineer has submitted his report on all capital projects that are ongoing at this time. Again, this is through today. And the final report is the report of all activities conducted by the police department as of February the 7th. And all of these reports are available for public inspection in the Office of the Business Administrator, Township Clerk. This evening, ladies and gentlemen, the first item of business is the introduction of the 2018 current fund budget. The total amount of the budget, $26,628,245.30. Now, for the record, this is the summary of the current fund section of the budget as it will be approved this evening. The appropriation within the caps for municipal purposes, $19,679,925. The appropriations excluded from the caps for municipal purposes, $3,476,448. So the total general appropriations excluded from the caps, again, $3,476,448. The reserve for uncollected taxes, 95%, $3,471,872. And once again, the total general appropriations, $26,628,245.30, less the anticipated revenues other than current property taxes of $10,093,319,000, and the difference of the amounts to be raised by taxes for support of the municipal budget for local tax purposes, $16,534,926.30. So the public hearing on the budget at this point in time is scheduled for Thursday evening, March 8th at 8:30 p.m. here in the municipal building. And at that time, any person wishing to be heard concerning the approved budget and finally for adoption, they will be given an opportunity to be heard. A synopsis of the budget will be printed in full in the Daily Record in accordance with law. So at this time, may we have a motion to introduce the 2018 local municipal budget?
So moved.
We have a
Second.
motion by Mr. Fermaska, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call for introduction, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Mahalko.
Yes.
Mr. Cahill.
Yes.
And Mr. Fermaska.
Aye.
So introduced at this time, again, public hearing, March 8th at 8:30 p.m. here in the main meeting room.
A little bit of background on the budget, which the business administrator just shared with you. I'm going to ask Mr. Esposito to put the number on this to make sure that we have accuracy. But the average household in Hanover Township, if this budget were approved, would go up how much on a dollar base?
Just give me 1 minute, I'm sorry. You have other questions before, while that one comes up?
Sure. Question?
Do you have another
Something-
question
something
other
else.
than the average amount?
No.
The
It's
actual
the
percentage.
the average amount and the percentage.
Okay. Percentage is 0.96% increase.
Okay.
And I just
Which
have to-
translates into what kind of increase per average home in Hanover Township annually?
Yep, just give me 1 second. This thing was just went out. Actually, it's doing a system update. If I was trying to log in, if you want to give me a, come back to me.
This is the curse of technology.
Okay.
While Mr. Esposito gets us that number, I can assure the members of the public that the Township Committee worked very diligently, along with the business administrator, the CFO, the department heads, to minimize the increase, as well as to provide enhanced services to the municipality going forward.
Average increase, little under $18.
So less than a $20 bill per the average household, is that correct, Mr. Esposito?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, as we proceed, ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 ordinances for introduction. The first ordinance is docketed as ordinance number 3-2018. This is an ordinance of the Township Committee authorizing a 1% increase in the appropriation limit of the Township's calendar year 2018 current fund budget, and further establishing a cap bank, all in accordance with NJSA 40A:4-45.14, which means we have that authority through the Division of Local Government Finance to do that 1% increase. The ordinance will be further considered for public hearing and final passage at a meeting of the Township Committee on the 8th of March at 8:30 p.m. here in the main meeting room of the municipal building. And at that time, any resident wishing to be heard will be given an opportunity to comment. The ordinance and the notice of introduction will appear in full in the Daily Record in accordance with law. So at this time, may we have a motion for introduction of ordinance number 3-2018? We have a motion. Second on roll call, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Mahalko.
Yes.
Mr. Cahill.
Yes.
And Mr. Fermaska.
Aye.
So introduced. Our second ordinance is docketed as ordinance number 4-2018. It's an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, reducing the 2 cent per $100 of assessed valuation dedicated open space trust fund tax rate to 1.5 cents per $100 of assessed valuation during calendar year 2018 only, and further authorizing the Township's Chief Municipal Finance Officer to collect the 1.5 cent dedicated tax. This ordinance, as well, will be heard for public hearing and second reading at the Township Committee meeting on March 8th at 8:30 p.m. and any person wishing to be heard concerning this ordinance will be given the opportunity to speak. The ordinance and the notice of introduction will be published in full in the Daily Record in accordance with law. May we now have a motion on introduction?
Make motion.
We have a motion by Mr. Mahalko, seconded by Mr. Cahill. On roll call for introduction, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Mahalko.
Yes.
Mr. Cahill.
Aye.
And Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
So introduced. And the final ordinance, ladies and gentlemen, for introduction is docketed as ordinance number 5-2018. We're already thinking of the Little League season.
Oh, please, bring it on.
This is an
Bring it on.
ordinance authorizing the execution of a lease agreement with the Hanover Township Little League Incorporated for the operation of the Black Brook Park concession stand, commencing with opening day on April 21st through August 31st, 2018. Ordinance number 5-2018 will be further considered for public hearing and final passage at the March 8th Township Committee meeting. And once again, any person wishing to be heard concerning the ordinance will be given the opportunity to speak here in the main meeting room. The ordinance and the notice of introduction will appear in full in the Daily Record in accordance with law. May we now have a motion on introduction?
Motion.
We have a motion
Second.
by Mr. Cahill, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call for introduction, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Mahalko.
Yes.
Mr. Cahill.
Yes.
And Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
So introduced. We continue now with the resolutions as a consent agenda, and we only have 3 resolutions this evening for consideration. Are there any questions from members of the governing body concerning any of the resolutions?
Move they be approved.
Seeing none, hearing none, we have a
Second.
motion for approval. Second, on roll call for approval of the resolutions as a consent agenda, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Mahalko.
Yes.
Mr. Cahill.
Yes.
And Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
Now we have to pay our bills.
Pay the bills, please.
$7,580,032.34. Motion for approval.
Move we pay the bills.
Okay, we have a
Second.
motion in unison. On roll call, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Mahalko.
Yes.
Mr. Cahill.
Yes.
And Mr. Ferramaska.
Aye.
So approved. And 2 raffle applications, William Mason Home and School Association, a 50/50 off-premise, and a casino night. May we have a motion for approval?
Make a motion.
A motion by Mr. Mahalko, seconded by Mr. Gallagher. On roll call, Mr. Gallagher.
Aye.
Mr. Mahalko.
Yes.
Mr. Cahill.
Aye.
And Mr. Ferramaska. So approved, Mr. Chairman, members of the Township Committee. That clears the agenda. The Business Administrator, Township Clerk, in record time. Thank you very much.
Mr. Giorgio, we thank you for your support.
Thank you.
At this time, we'd like to get a motion to open the meeting to the public.
Make that motion.
At this time, the meeting is open to the members of the public. If any member of the public has a question or would like to address the committee, please come to the podium and please provide your name and address. Seeing none at this time, may we have a motion to
Motion closed.
close?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Okay, at this time, we'd like to hear from members of the committee on initiatives and actions that are going on within their area of responsibility that they can share with members of the public. So we'll begin with Mr. Gallagher.
Thank you, John. Tomorrow night is week 6 of Friday nights at Menon Arena. So far, we've averaged between 250 and 300 children every Friday night, which is pretty good for the winter time. We have a different feature every Friday night, and due to popular demand, tomorrow night we're going to have once again free photo IDs for all our students that want one. A lot of adults wanted them; they can have them too. Morris County Park Police is providing that service for us. And what's nice also is they made it clear that if Hanover Township would like their men and their equipment, that they would be happy to come in and do photos. So we're currently talking with Denise Brennan about possibly lining something up for Little League opening day to have everybody there get a photo ID that would like one. Very important piece of information for our youngsters to have on them at all times. Tuesday night, a lot of people have probably heard about this already, but Tuesday night's the big night, our master class with the Morris Area Coalition for Education and Positive Choices, along with the Hanover Township Police Department, Morris County Prosecutor's Office, Morris County Sheriff's Department, and Hanover Township Substance Awareness Council. What our master class is going to cover largely is vaping. A lot of the children now are vaping. Us parents are wondering what they're vaping, where they're getting it, what the equipment looks like. We're going to have equipment on hand. We're going to be able to hear from one of our men, Eric Prock, handpicked by Chief Roddy. Chief Roddy is a very important player in this Morris Area Coalition. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, HDPD, for everything you do every day for us. But then we're going to discuss the reason that this coalition is together and the work we do and the work we plan on doing. We have Morris County Prosecutor Fred Knapp. He's going to come in and talk about opiates and heroin. The Assistant Prosecutor, Brad Seabury, is going to come in and discuss fentanyl with us. It's a new drug. It's very deadly. It's very inexpensive, and it's everywhere. And closing out the night is going to be our own Morris County Sheriff, James Gannon. James is going to close with treatment and different initiatives on treatment. And, of course, going back through it, it's going to be introduction to prevention. It's going to be what do you do when you're there, the law enforcement end of it, and then it's going to be the treatment end. We're going to try to cover everything, and we're going to educate the families as much as we can, and I'm putting myself in that category too, because I'm not an educator or a law enforcement officer, and the more I learn, the more nervous I get. And we decided that instead of just hoping it gets better and being nervous, we're going to drink a little bit of coffee, take off the gloves, and start taking care of our business and trying to be as helpful as we can. This Sunday at 3:30 is the Chinese New Year. Mike announced it twice before, and I found out Tuesday night it was actually cultural arts, but I think they're doing it now with the rec because it's going to be moved to the rec center.
To the rec center because there's such a good turnout.
We're planning on such a big turnout that it is going to be at the rec center.
Yeah.
A lot of people are working very hard. Mike, if you have the poster, when you do your presentation, if you could hold it up, that'd be fantastic.
I had it the last couple times, so I didn't bring it this time. But go to the website.
And just to conclude, I know I took a lot of time on the master class on the vaping. I would just like to say once again, I would like to thank our DPW. And we've had a crazy storm yesterday where they had assault, they had a push, they had assault, they had a push. They're great. They're 24/7. We all appreciate what they do. And also, every time there's a storm like that, it puts a lot more stress on our police department, too. So thank you, everybody. Great work. And that's it, John.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Please be considerate. The DPW works very hard trying to get those roads clean and make it safe for us to travel. But we also need to be considerate to the school children who are trying to board the bus. And I know it was difficult. I know it was hard because I was out there trying to push the ice and the water and salt it and clean my walkway. But it's important to clean those walkways because if you don't, what happens is there's a child who's going to need to walk, most likely across that walkway to get onto that school bus, and it was a very dangerous condition for them in the morning. So if you haven't done it, please do it.
Let me jump on that for a second,
Please.
John. You know, John asked me also before the meeting if I would help him out with this announcement and this public address on the sidewalks and working with Brian Cahill on school and park traffic safety. I'd like to thank Hanover Township residents for getting out there in this bad storm and doing a much better job in shoveling the sidewalks. But, you know, we have a lot of kids walking to school, and if we can just continue to reinforce the fact that we do have to get out there and clean the sidewalks if we have them, because it's such an issue when it's solid ice, and we don't want to encourage, especially our children, to walk in the side of the street, which is even worse because some of our streets don't have shoulders. So, number one, thank you, everybody, for getting out there and taking care of your sidewalks. And if you couldn't for any reason, we really want to get together and make this a priority, especially around the routes leading to bus stops and the routes leading to schools. Thanks for the extra time, John.
Great. Mr. Mahalko.
I say at each meeting, I got the best assignments. Let me start with the good one. Let's start with rec department. If you haven't noticed, you haven't seen it yet, the bathrooms and concession stands are in place at the Brickyard, which is a big step forward. Jerry, do we know when that's going to be operational? I know they're talking spring, but is there...
Yeah, in the spring. I don't have a firm date.
Yeah.
A lot of the work is weather dependent, and right
Yeah.
now, you know, because of the weather, so.
But they'll definitely be, I know they'll definitely be ready for the summer concert series. That's definitely going to be
Yes,
up and going.
Yes.
Jerry's on record
Yes.
saying that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a big step going forward, is getting that up and going. On the same nature, the Brickyard, the Bee Meadow Ponds, Phase 1 of the nature trail is in the works, and if you'd like, I don't know if this map is up yet anywhere. We'll get this map up soon, just to show where the trail is going to go. It's between the first, second, and third ponds on the pool side. Phase 2 is going to be going around the backside. That hasn't been exactly established yet where it's going to go. But Phase 1, we're going to be starting on that soon too, hopefully, and getting that going. We got a lot of things going on in Rec Department. Stingo, which is bingo. That is going to be here at the Rec Center. And we call it Stingo because it's the B from B Meadow Pool. It's to raise some funds and some awareness for B Meadow Pool. It's going to be Friday, February 16th. From 7 to 9. It's $10 per family, and you'll get some pizza, some beverages, there'll be prizes. Good time. Come on out if you can. There's also Aquatopia for Monday, President's Day, February 19th, and that's for students, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, going to Camel Beach Water Park out in Pennsylvania. They're going to make a day trip out there. I believe there's still a few spots available. If you want to check the website, check with the Rec Department. We can see if we can sign you up if there's any interest. One of my other assignments is the senior citizens, and unfortunately, the meeting yesterday got canceled again. So I keep missing out. They're a very active group. I know they have some, there's a senior citizen boot camp going on now, and a couple other fitness classes. So as of now, I don't have a lot to report because we keep missing meetings because of the weather. Water Department. Water Department's been pretty busy. They got, there's an upgrade slated for Cedar Knolls and Morris Plains. They're scheduled to do the system. I don't have a lot of the details yet of what they're going to do. I believe they're going to be switching systems, and if anybody knows more about it, feel free to chime in.
I know it's a three-phase approach to that, where I think the first phase is mostly the Morris Plains area, and then the second and third phase really dealing with the Cedar Knolls residents to get away from that dependent on on a pump system and more on a gravity system, so you don't have the same issue that occurred during the over the Thanksgiving.
Yes.
That's good news.
Yeah, as more information comes available, we'll certainly let you know. I was at the meeting. Mr. Anacone was there also, of course. They did allocate a sum of money to start inspecting the pipes and looking for leaks, which means they're being proactive, looking for where there's a leak, that's where you're going to have a water main. So they're going to start working on those. They had said roughly 40 to 60 miles they're going to work on this year. Sounds like a lot, but they got a lot of miles to do. But it's a step in the right direction. They're going to start working on those problems again, being proactive. Open space. We had a good meeting the other night. Again, this is where the trail system was talked about again. And we're going to do, it's a 6-foot path, correct?
Yeah, it's a 6-foot wide path. The majority will be stone dust, just so we have ADA accessibility. There are some steeper sections where stone dust is really not the optimal material because it tends to wash out when you get heavy rains. But we're working on that. It does need some DEP permitting, which, as we all know, could take upwards of around 6 months. So we're probably looking at construction later in the year.
Okay. Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Mr. Mahalko. Mr. Cahill.
Thank you, John. Let's start talking about budget. One of the big topics as we tried to work through the budget was trying to get a couple of more police officers on the payroll. And pending the budget approval, we've agreed to put on 2 more officers over the course of 2018. This will bring manpower levels essentially about 2 less than they were at their peak, and this is talking back to 1990. So really manpower levels have been flat for a very long time, and we all know how the town has evolved and changed since the 90s, so clearly it was time. And just to give you some further example of that, I just took a snapshot of what December of 17 looked like for our police department. There were 50 arrests, 12 of those for CDS, 4 of those were for DWI. There were 94 motor vehicle accidents that they responded to. Over 300 summonses were issued, and over 250 911 calls were responded to, and that's just in 1 month. And what you need to keep in mind is that all of this is being done, protecting the township and protecting the citizens, while at the same time they're conducting over 900 property checks, visiting our schools, and they're involved in a number of different programs as well. I think last month or a couple of weeks ago I talked about the Law Enforcement Against Drugs program. Well, the 2 police officers are implementing that program for our 5th graders. They're 4 weeks into a 10-week program, so it takes a lot of time. Coming up in the spring is going to be a program called Share the Keys, where parents and new drivers with graduated licenses will attend a program, again, given by Hanover Police Department personnel. So these programs are imperative. They're very, very important. That's what gets lost if these guys are so busy they can't keep up with the calls. So I think it's about time. I think that was will be a great win for everybody. Along the same line, I am reporting this. I'm reporting this because I am the liaison for public safety. I can tell you for sure that this has been discussed and talked about for a long time. Credit goes to past and present committeemen, leadership in the police department, as well as the administration and Silvio in order to make this happen. Again, presuming that the budget passes as we hope and plan. So good news there. Moving on, another program that's coming in place is the fire districts, both fire districts actually, and the rec department are sponsoring an AED and a CPR training session for all Hanover coaches and refs. This will take place on February 13th at 7 p.m. in Monroe Hall, so all are welcome there. And lastly, both fire districts 2 and 3 fire commissioners will be holding their annual elections, and that's going to occur not this Saturday, but next Saturday, February 17th, between 2 p.m. and 9 p.m. Voting will take place at the Whippany Firehouse for District 2 and at the Cedar Knolls Firehouse for District 3. And that's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Cahill.
Sure.
I know that all the members of the Township Committee are very interested in public safety and encouraged by the expansion. And I think Mr. Gallagher has a comment that he wants to add to it as well.
I have one more comment about Hanover Township PD and what they do above and beyond their normal duties. For instance, with our drug coalition, they're all very active. In February 24th, we have a pilot program called Train It with HTPD, which started with 2 of my daughter's friends looking at 2 of our policemen and thought they were cool, big, and strong. And they said, boy, look at the muscles on that guy. After talking to Chief Roddy, we put together a program. Many surrounding towns are interested in it. They're going to be looking at us and visiting us. So that's Saturday afternoon. If anybody wants to come down and see some of our 8th graders trained with Hanover Township PD, they're going to talk about gym etiquette, proper nutrition, self-respect, respect of others, and proper techniques on weight equipment. So just another thing that these guys do above and beyond. And Brian, one question for you. So that would bring our number up to 32, correct? 32. If the budget goes through?
That's right.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Brian.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, I have the pleasure to speak about the Hanover Green Team's initiatives. Hanover Green Team is highly recognized within the state of New Jersey for sustainability efforts, being ranked silver level. Hanover Township's Green Team and the Whippany Park High School's Green Team, in conjunction, will hold an energy fair. This energy fair will be on Saturday, February the 24th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Whippany Park High School. The theme for this will be the smart and healthy home. It's a great opportunity to learn about LED lighting, to learn about solar energy, how to insulate your house, how to use smart thermostats, the use of home energy audits, high efficiency rebates and cooling that's available, as well as to see some neat things like electric cars. We'll have a Chevy Bolt on display. We'll have the Honda Clarity on display. So it'll be a great opportunity for people of all ages. So please come out and support your green teams on February 24th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Last piece I've spoken about before, but I think I need to talk about it again because it is a big opportunity. And it's a big opportunity for our college-age students. And the opportunity is to get an internship program within Hanover Township this spring/summer. Hanover has an opportunity for you, especially if you're interested in the ever-growing demand to prepare for positions with local, state, or federal levels of government. And the career path, our students can have an opportunity to work in one of the following areas. You could work in public management, potentially, finance, healthcare, and or engineering, just to name a few. To learn more about this internship opportunity, and there's only a limited number of slots, it's first come, first served, you need to contact the Township's website to learn about this, as well as you can also access this information within the town hall. So please take this information and act upon it. It's a great opportunity. Gentlemen, if there's no further business, I'd like to have a motion for adjournment.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everyone, and a good evening to all.
Such an efficient meeting, it went so quickly. Well done, John.
Thank you.
Very good, John. John, I have some resolutions if you can sign them. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Stop.
Yeah, I did. Let me get out of your way, I'm sorry.
No.